Okay, I have started the recording. Yesterday we have completed discussing about the supplier interface. So what is the supplier interface? And we have made some points about the supplier interface. So it is a function interface that is introduced in JDK 1.8 version, and package wise it is available in the function package, the java.util.function package. It has one abstract method, which is the get method. So this is how the supplier interface is declared. And when I say the supplier interface, it will not accept any input. Okay, so there is no concept of accepting the input, but it is going to return something to the end user. So it always returns some value, but it will not accept, it will not consume any input. It supplies, that's why it is called a supplier. It supplies some data in the form of return type. So that's why it is called a supplier. It will not consume anything. Okay, and it is used extensively in the functional programming and the stream operations. So today we are going to discuss the very important topic, which is the BiPredicate. Before understanding BiPredicate, let me show you the, let us do the small recap. So the predicate, when I say predicate, or when I say the function interface, or when I say the consumer, so the predicate, the common thing is the predicate, function, and the consumer, it is going to accept an input type. So when it comes to predicate, we know that the predicate is going to accept any kind of input, any kind of data type. It can be, data type can be anything, but there is a restriction. It is always going to return what? Boolean type as the output, right? The return type is always the Boolean type. Right, so this is how the predicate is going to work, and you have an option to, we write the processing logic inside the predicate. Okay, so here you are going to write what? The processing logic, right? So this is the predicate, but so there is if I have a requirement, like for example, if I want to, it's okay, let us understand this little more better. So the predicate, this is how the predicate looks like. Predicate, and you have what? For example, if it is going to accept any input type, right? I am declaring the generic type as integer, which means it is going to accept the integer as the input type, right? And I can write my own lambda expression as per the business logic requirement. I want to check if the number is an even number or the odd number. I want to confirm whether the number that you are passing as input is even number or not. So this is the ultimate logic for that. This is the logic for that. And if you observe one thing here, this predicate is accepting only one input value, and the return type is always what? Return type is always the Boolean, but the input type is integer here, but only one input value it is accepting. But if I want to design a predicate, okay, if I want to design a predicate which is going to accept, two input values, and the return type is going to be Boolean always. Going to be what? The Boolean always. Boolean type always. Then I should go for BiPredicate. There is a topic called what? BiPredicate. BiPredicate. Right? So this is to overcome. Okay, so here I cannot say there is a disadvantage here. So this predicate is giving you an option to pass only one input type as an argument. You can pass one argument as an input, and you will get the output in the form of Boolean type. So this is how it is different. But if I want to design a predicate which is going to accept two input values in the arguments, then I should go for what? There is a separate interface called BiPredicate interface. This BiPredicate interface will help me to pass two inputs and get the output in the form of what? The Boolean type. So this is how it looks like. So let me introduce that BiPredicate for the imagination purpose. Okay. So this is how the BiPredicate is going to be, right? So if when I say BiPredicate, you will just use the word in front of the predicate. So BiPredicate is going to accept how many inputs? It is going to accept 2 inputs. So the declaration is going to be T comma U. Okay, the T is the first input and the U is the second input. Okay, you can pass 2 inputs here. Okay, this is going to accept how many inputs here? This is going to accept 2 inputs. One is input type, input 1 and input 2. Right? And you can pass any type. Input 1 type can be any data type and input 2 can be any data type. Okay, you can pass 2 inputs in the arguments and the output is always going to be what? We should ensure that the processing logic is going to get designed in such a way that the output is always going to be what? Output is always going to be the boolean type. Okay, processing logic. So you have to write a processing logic in such a way that the output is going to return the boolean type as an output. The return type is always boolean. Return type is always going to be what? Boolean. Okay, so BiPredicate is going to accept 2 inputs, whereas the predicate is going to accept the 1 input. Everything is going to be same except for the input part. Okay, predicate, this is how the predicate is going to be declared, but the BiPredicate, the declaration of BiPredicate is going to be like this. Okay, there are 2 input arguments, one is T type and the second one is U type. You can pass 2 inputs, and again each and every input can be of any data type, no matter what. There are no restrictions for that. Input 1 can be any data type and input 2 can be of any data type, but the output should always be boolean type. You should write a processing logic in such a way that it is producing the output in the form of boolean. So this is the concept of what the BiPredicate that I have just introduced. Okay, likewise you have the function. Okay, we know what is a function. What is a function? Function is an interface, and the input type can be anything. Okay, so we have discussed this already. You can pass the input of any data type, any data type, and output type, return type can be of any type. 1 minute. Okay, and the return type can also be of what? The return type can also be of any data type. Okay, so there is a function, and right, so this is how you can imagine the function. Okay, let me help you with the function. So this is what the predicate is, and if I want to talk about more about the function, okay, for example, if I have a record, usually this is how the function interface is going to look like. Okay, function integer. Okay, the first argument is the input type and the second argument is what? The second argument is the return type. Okay, I am writing a function. My function is going to take one input I, and it is going to return what? The square of I, which means if you pass 2, the output is going to be 4. If you pass 3, the output is going to be 9. If you pass 4, the output is going to be 16. This is how the function is written. Okay, always if you see the function, the function is going to accept one input type, and it is going to accept, it is going to give the return type. So both can be anything. Okay, you can use any kind of input as a data type, and you can use any type of data as the return type. So this is the usual function. Okay, but my requirement is, if I want to design a function, okay, if I want to design a function, I want to design a function which is accepts 2 input values, then I must go for BiFunction. BiFunction is a predefined interface that was introduced in JDK 1.8 version. Okay, the behavior of the BiFunction is going to be the same like the behavior of the function itself, but the function will accept one input type. You can pass one input as an argument, but for the BiFunction, okay, when I am declaring the BiFunction will help you to pass 2 inputs as the argument. Okay, the first input T, the second input is U, and the return type is R. This is how it can be declared. the BiFunction declaration. Okay, you can pass the input one as any data type, you can pass the input 2 as any data type, and you can choose to have the output or the return type as any data type. Okay, return type can also be of what, any data type. Okay? Everything is going to be same except for this. Okay, the function, when you say function, one input and the one return type. But when you say BiFunction, two inputs, BiPredicate, two inputs. Apart from this, everything is going to remain the same. Even the static methods, default methods, abstract methods, every part is going to be same. So since we are talking about the BiFunction, let me repeat this. BiFunction is going to accept two arguments as the input. Okay, you can pass two input arguments. Okay, and you can write a processing logic in such a way that it is generating the return type as per the requirement, and the return type can be of any data type. This is the takeaway. So this is all about what? This is all about the BiFunction. We're talking about the BiFunction. So this is how the BiFunction looks like. BiFunction. So likewise, you have the consumer. Usually what the consumer is going to do, okay, consumer will accept one input, but it will not return anything to the, okay, you are going to write a processing logic, but this processing logic will be written in such a way that it is not generating any return type. All you can do is you can display something in the console. You can use the system.out.println statement. Again, it will accept one input type. Okay, so let's understand about the usual consumer. What is the behavior of the consumer? For example, if I am designing a consumer, okay, my simple consumer is going to look like this. Consumer, and the input type is something like string. Okay, string s equal to, after accepting the input, okay, I just want to I use the system.out.println statement to display that input in the console. The input is of string type. I'm accepting a string. Okay, let us say that I'm accepting the string Jyoti here, and Jyoti will be displayed in the console. It is not going to return anything. This is how the consumer can be declared. Okay, but what if I have a requirement? Okay, if I have a requirement, to do what? If I have a requirement to accept two input values for the consumer, okay, then I should go for what? BiConsumer, right? So my usual consumer is going to accept only one input, and it will not generate any output. Okay, the data type, okay, the input type can be of any data type. Okay, but it is not going to return any return type. The data type will be consumed, and you are going to write the processing logic in such a way that you are not going to return any data type, right? And if you want to give something to the end user in the form of, you can give that in the form of system, by using the system.out.println statement. Okay, so every predicate, function, and the consumer will accept one input. But if I want to if I have a requirement where my predicate or where my function or consumer should accept two inputs, will be using what? I will be using the BiPredicate or the BiConsumer or the BiFunction. Okay, why my BiConsumer is going to be like, it is going to accept how many inputs? One first input of T type, second input of U type. Is not going to produce any output. That's why BiConsumer. This is how the BiConsumer is going to get declared. Right? You are going to pass how many inputs here? Two inputs here. Okay, let us understand this better programmatically. Okay, what is the first interface that we have discussed today? BiPredicate. Right? So BiPredicate. So I can copy the first three lines. Okay, I am pasting it here. It is a function interface that was introduced in JDK 1.8. It is available in the java.lang package. Okay, let me remove this. Okay, please be informed that the BiPredicate will accept two arguments as the input, and the return type is always boolean. Return type is always boolean. Right, except for this, every points that you have for the predicate, okay, every point that we have for predicate is available for the consumer as well. I mean BiPredicate as well. I'm sorry. Every point that is declared for the predicate is available for the BiPredicate except for this. Okay, the fourth point is going to be same thing. It has an abstract method which is a test method. This will not change. Fifth point is going to be the declaration part. Okay, when you want to declare the BiPredicate, the declaration is going to change. The declaration is going to be out t comma u, because two inputs. Okay, first input is of t type and the second input is of u type. Any data type. But the output is all, the data type is always boolean. Okay, and the sixth point, it is extensively used for the functional programming and stream operations. And the seventh point, right? Please be informed that it is going to have the same default method, same static methods. And the eighth point, right? And the default methods are and or negate method, which we have discussed in the predicate concept. And the return type is predicate itself, and they are used to join two predicates to fulfill the most specific common requirements. Then the ninth point is equals method is the static methods for the BiPredicate. Okay, I am just adding the by here for the specificity. BiPredicate. Okay, every predicate will be changed to BiPredicate. Okay, this is BiPredicate, right? That's it. So this is all about BiPredicate. Let us understand this programmatically. Let us write the first program on top of BiPredicate. Okay, let us go BiPredicate. So what I'm trying to do is my BiPredicate will accept two inputs of integer type. The first input is of integer type and the second input is also of integer type. Then the reference variable is going to be b equal to, okay, the first input, okay, I am using the reference variable as a. The second input, the reference variable is b. Okay, so these are the parameters of the lambda expression, okay, followed by the arrow token, right? What if my processing logic is going to be, I am going to do the summation of two inputs. Okay, I will sum the two inputs and I will check if two inputs are lesser than 100. Right? If it is lesser than 100, okay, b is already declared. Let me take this as okay. If this is lesser than 100, it will return true. If this is greater than, if the summation is greater than 100, it is going to return false. A simple predicate. Okay, so let me use the system.out.println. What is the abstract method that we have inside the BiPredicate? The same abstract method that we add for predicate, which is what? Test method. Okay, this test method will accept two arguments. Let us pass 10, 20. Okay, so this 10 is assigned to A, 20 is get assigned to B, right? 10 becomes A becomes 10, B becomes 20, right? 10 plus 20 becomes 30. Okay, 30 is 30 lesser than 100? Yes, it is. The output is going to be true. Right? When you have a requirement that you want to pass two inputs and you want to write a processing logic in such a way that the output is going to be boolean always, then you can go for what? You can go for BiPredicate. Bi means two. Always it will accept two inputs. Can pass any two inputs. Okay, the processing logic is written. Okay, for the example, I have written the processing logic like the two inputs gets added together and it will be checked upon whether this summation is greater than 100 or not. I mean lesser than 100 or not. If it is lesser than 100, it will return true or else it will return false. True, false, false. Right, so let us understand this diagrammatically. Let's understand these things diagrammatically. So this is my BiPredicate. Let me purchase this machine. Let me use this machine. Import to canvas from file. I do not want all this. I just want this. Okay, so this is my BiPredicate. Right, what is the logic that I have here? Very simple logic. Okay, the logic is very simple. Let me push this. Okay, so this is my processing logic, isn't it? What is my processing logic? If you see my processing logic, this is a processing logic. A comma B and arrow operator. Okay, my processing logic is designed like this. Okay, what you are doing here, the first system.out.println statement, you are passing two inputs 10 comma 20. Okay, first input is 10, second input is 20. Okay, this 10 comma 20 will go as an input, first input 10 and second input 20. The processing logic is what? Okay, the processing logic is in such a way that this 10 plus 20 will get added up to become what? To become 30. 10 plus 20 will be get added up to become 30, and this 30 will be conditionally checked if it is lesser than 100. Okay, this condition is going to ensure that this is returning what? This is returning true, a boolean value. Always the condition is going to return something like a boolean value, right? So it will return true. The output is going to be what? True itself. True will be generated and it will be returned to the console. Likewise, there are other two examples. Okay, test.100 comma 20. 100 will be first input, 20 will be second input. Okay, the processing logic will take care of the return type and output will be generated. Likewise, the third one. Okay, by means always remember the two inputs. Okay, this is very simple example. I want to increase the complexity of the BiPredicate. Okay, my requirement is I am going to design a BiPredicate. Okay, I want to design. I want to write a BiPredicate. I want to write a BiPredicate to check if the user ID and the password is correct. I want to do what? I want to write the BiPredicate to check if the user ID and the password is correct. Okay, so I am taking a database in the form of map. I'm taking a map. The map is going to represent the string as the generic type, right? And I am adding some. I'm going to add some data. Okay, I'm using this map as the database. Okay, so this is the map collection topic. Okay, we have completed this collection topic. You can refer to my collection videos. I have already given a playlist for the collection videos. Okay, I am adding some data here in the map. Okay, so first name is Suresh and the password of the Suresh is 123. Okay, and the first string is representing the username, the second string is representing the password. Okay, the second one is Ramesh. Okay, the password for Ramesh is 123 itself, and the third one is Mukesh. The password for Mukesh is also 123 itself, and the fourth one is Vignesh. The password for Vignesh is also 123 itself. Okay, so I have some data in the database, and I am storing this information in the m variable, which is of map type. Key value pair. Key is representing the username, value is representing the password. I want to write the BiPredicate to check, to validate this information. To validate this information, I want to write what? I want to write a BiPredicate. So my BiPredicate is going to accept two arguments of two inputs of string type, string 1 and string 2. Okay, BP. BiPredicate. Okay, this is the okay. The first input it is going to accept is username, comma. Second input is going to be what? Password. Okay, using the arrow operator to define the lambda expression. This is the body of the lambda expression. Okay, I want to write a logic in such a way that it is returning the boolean type. So two inputs, one is username, second one is password of string type. Okay, what I want to do here, if the conditional check I am writing it. What kind of conditional check I am writing it here? I am performing a conditional check that if the user ID is correct or not, and if the password associated with the user ID is correct or not. Okay, so what I am trying to do here, BP, not BP, m dot contains is a method, contains key of username. Okay, the end user will pass an username, guys. Okay, thus that username will be checked inside this map, and the second condition is what? If password, The end user is going to enter a password. I am checking that password by using the equals method. Password dot equals. Okay, so I want to check if the password associated with the key m dot get username. Okay, this password, okay, this is, I think there is a type username and the password. I'm trying to do what? I'm trying to check if the m dot contains key of username, and I'm using this double and operator, and I'm checking if the password dot equals method. Okay, 1 minute, why it is giving error? Password dot, it is not giving 1 minute, guys. Username and the password. If username dot if m dot contains the passed username and password dot equals. So the password dot equals method is going to fetch the value of the key associated with that password. So I'm trying to fetch the key that is associated with the username itself. Okay, so this logic will ensure that this logic is going to what? This logic is going to ensure that if the user ID that is passed is correct or not. M dot get key username. Okay. The bracket is missing. So one more bracket is okay. And if the condition is satisfied, it is going to return true. Else, this is going to return what? This is going to return false. The logic is very simple here. Okay, we will understand this logic when I try to execute this code. Okay. So simply I have written a BiPredicate, guys. This BiPredicate is going to accept two strings as our input. Okay, the first input is representing the username, the second input is representing the password. I'm just using the conditional check to validate the credentials given by the end user. Okay, the end user is going to enter the username and the password. I'm trying to check if the username is available in the database or not. I have already mocked the database by using the map object. Okay, he can enter username. It could be Suresh, it could be Ramesh, it could be Mukesh, or it could be Vignesh. And at the same time, I'm just verifying the password. Okay, again, this password is going to fetch if the right value is associated with the username. Okay, I'm using the dot equals method. This dot equals method, again, it is fetching what? M dot get username. Okay, this is going to return the value that is associated with this username. If these two conditions are satisfied, then it is going to return true, else it is going to return false. Ideally, if the end user is entering Mukesh, the password must be 123. Let me change here 1234 or 123. Let me change the password as 12 here. Let me change this password as 123456. Let me change the password as 1212 12312. Okay, let us try to test this. The system.out.println bp.test. If the end user is entering Suresh, okay, and if the end user is entering the right password, what is the password associated with the Suresh? 1234. Okay, it should return true. true. If any one of the inputs, there is any mismatch in one of the inputs, if there is any incorrect information in one of the inputs, let us say that instead of Suresh, I am just removing the word H, letter H, okay, and if there is any mismatch here, it should return false. The validation has to get failed. The validation should fail definitely, isn't it? Right? Only if both the username and the password is correct as per the records that we have stored already in the map, then it should return true. Right? I can also write this in a better way. Okay, how this could be written, how this program could be written in a better, friendly way. System.out.println. I am trying to ask the end user, please enter your user name. Okay, I am using the scanner class. Scanner class sc equal to new scanner system.in. Okay, this is going to accept the input from the end user. The end user is going to give an username. I am storing that in the variable un sc.next. Okay, after this, once the username is entered successfully, I am asking the end user to enter the password. Enter your password. Please enter your password. Right? I am storing that password that is entered by the end user in the variable called pw. After doing this too, I am performing a conditional check. If I am just trying to use my BiPredicate, which is of bp.test. Okay, I am passing this the username that is entered by the end user, which is un, and the password that is entered by the end user, which is pw. Okay, I am going to validate. If this is going to return true, then I will be printing something like system.enter the you are verified. Else system.out.println invalid credentials. Invalid credentials. Okay. Ideally, the complete logic is inside this BiPredicate. This BiPredicate is accepting two inputs, and we are performing the conditional check in such a way that it is going to validate the credentials, username and the password. Let us run this. Please enter your username. Okay, the username must be one of these names. Okay, so let us enter Ramesh. Okay, please enter your password 12. You are verified because the information is as per the record. Ramesh and 12. Okay, let me give the wrong information here. Please enter the username. Okay, I am intentionally giving a wrong information here, and it is asking me to enter the password 12312. Invalid credentials because the username is incorrect. Okay, so conditionally, okay, this will take care that the right username and the right password, the password is going to get verified with the right username, or the username is going to get verified with the password, because both have the association here. Okay, that is how the logic is done. So this is one of the examples where you can use the predicates in the real-time applications. You can perform the validations. So this is one of the example. You can add some of the logics from your side as well. Okay, let me include this in the notes. Okay, I'm sorry, it was muted. Let me include this in the notes. Okay, I think it is audible now. Okay, let me. So this is the program. Best example you can practice. I will put this in the description. Okay, you can practice this. This is one of the best examples. Okay? So this is all about the BiPredicate. Now let me introduce the BiFunction. What is the BiFunction? Okay, we have already discussed about the BiFunction over here. Okay, if you see, right, the BiFunction will accept two input arguments and it will return something to the end user, but the input type input 1 and input 2 can be of any data type, and the return type can be of any data type. Okay, so what is a function? What is a BiFunction actually? So this is the BiPredicate. We have understood what is BiPredicate. Let us understand that what is the BiFunction. Okay, BiFunction. Let me copy the same points that we have for function. The only one major difference is what? Only one difference we have in the BiFunction. Okay, what is it? It is going to accept two arguments as the inputs. Okay, BiFunction. It is a function interface that is introduced in JDK 1.8 version. This is no issues, and this is also no issues. It has only one abstract method, right? And the declaration is going to get changed here. Okay, interface is going to accept two inputs as the arguments, right? T comma is to input 1, input 2, and the return type. Okay, you have T and you have U, which is the second input, and you have the return type. So this is how it can be declared. So this is what BiFunction. What is it? BiFunction. Right? It is used in extensional functional programming, and it is going to have the same default methods that we have already discussed for the function. Okay, and the seventh major point is, please be informed that when you want to pass two inputs as an argument to your function, then you must use the BiFunction. This is the only difference. Everything is going to remain the same, right? It is going to have the two default methods, which is and then method and the compose method, right? And the abstract method is apply method itself. Okay, so let us write a small program on the BiFunction. Okay. Now my first program will be like, let us understand what is a BiFunction here with the small program. Okay, the nature of the program is going to be very easy for the first time, right? So BiFunction, it's just like the function, but the BiFunction will accept two inputs as the argument. Okay, BiFunction, it is available in java.util.function. The input 1 is of T type. I want to take the input 1 as integer. Okay, I want to take the input 2 as what? Integer. Okay, I want to take the return type as integer. Okay, my logic is going to be very simple. Okay, and this is BiFunction, so B equal to two inputs, right? So A comma B, right? The processing logic is what? The lambda expression is what? I want to multiply these two inputs, A into, that's it. Simple logic, simple BiFunction logic. Okay, so if I perform or if I invoke the lambda expression, or if I call the accept method, sorry, apply method, I'm sorry, if I call the apply method, and if I pass two inputs 10 comma 20, okay, it is going to return the product of these two inputs, because that is the actual logic, isn't it? Right, 200, 10 comma 20 becomes 200. Likewise, I can pass two inputs, and output is going to be what? The product of the two inputs. The second input is 1 comma 2, and you're going to get the product of two input as 1. How you can visualize this much better behind the scenes, what is happening, we will understand this now. Okay, what is the actual topic that we are discussing now? BiFunction. Let me import that part. Okay, so let me create some space here. Okay, so we want to understand about the BiFunction. So this is not required. Okay, this is not required. Okay, this is also not required. Let me quickly remove this. Okay, it's done. Okay, BiFunction. The name itself says BiFunction, which will accept two input arguments. One is the first input, second input, and one return type. This is how the prototype looks like for the BiFunction. Okay, what is the logic that we have written for the BiFunction? These are the 3 lines that we have, right? And let me put it here. Okay, I have created a BiFunction So this is the processing logic of the BiFunction. So this is the processing logic. A comma B, and the output is going to be what? Product of A comma B. Okay, this is a processing logic. Very simple processing logic. Okay, the first line is representing what? Okay, you are using the apply method, which is going to accept two inputs. One is 10, second one is 20. Input 1 is 10 and the input 2 is 20. Right? It will go inside. Okay, and the lambda in the processing logic will get activated. First input, second input, A comma B. A is representing 10, B is representing what? 20. Right? B is representing 20. You have two inputs, and you are doing what? You have written a lambda expression which is giving the product of these two inputs. 10 comma 20 becomes what? 200. 200 will be returned to the console. Okay, the inputs are integer and output is also integer. Right? Two inputs integer. Input 1, input is integer, output is also of integer. That's why input, this is integer, input 1 is integer, input 2 is integer, output is also integer. This is simple logic to understand this. Okay, this is how we can visualize these things. Okay, my second program, let us increase the complexity. I want to write a program. I want to write a simple BiFunction to create student object. I want to write a BiFunction to create student objects. Okay, my BiFunction should produce the object, should create the object. How I can write a BiFunction to get student object, which is going to accept out how many inputs? Two inputs. Which is going to accept name as the first input and roll number as the second input. Roll number as the second input. Okay, let me create a student class quickly. I want to remove all this, not necessary. Okay, I have a class student, guys. Class student. Okay, my student class is it has two properties. First property is a name property, which is of string type. Okay, the second property is of the roll number, which is of what? Integer type, R and O. Okay, I am creating a constructor for this to initialize the values to the instance variables. So constructor is always required for Java topic. To generate constructors using fields. Okay, constructor is generated. Let me remove the super. Okay, so I have two properties, name property and roll number property. Okay, I want to write a function. I want to write a BiFunction. Okay, my BiFunction will accept two inputs. The first input is it is going to accept name. Name is of what type? String type. So I am replacing this t with string. Second input is roll number. Roll number is of what type? Integer type. I am replacing this u with integer. Okay. And the third, okay, it will accept the name, it will accept the roll number, and it has to generate the student object. So that's why the return type is what? Student. Okay, BF equal to new, not new. How many inputs I am taking? A comma B. You can write any reference variable name. Okay, and it is going to create, it is going to return the object, right? New student of A comma B. That's it. Right? What I want to do it here exactly, I am taking an array list now. I am taking an array list, which is going to create student object AL equal to new array list. Right? My array list is going to add, I am going to add the objects by using the BiFunction reference variable. Right? Add. What I am doing it here, I am using this reference BF. Okay? BF dot apply method, and I am passing two arguments. First one name is Ramya. Okay, the roll number is something like 1, 2, 3. So one object will be created, right? The second one is Jyoti. The roll number is 1, 2, 4. Right? So The apply method is accepting two arguments because you are using the apply method is of what type? BiFunction type. BiFunction is accepting two arguments, string argument and the integer argument. Okay, you pass when I say Ramya 1 2 3, Ramya will go as inputs. Ramya 1 2 3 will go as input 1 and input 2, and the object is getting generated. What is the proof that objects are getting generated? If I just print the reference variable of array list, okay, you see the output in the console as, okay, I want to override the toString method here. Okay, let me override that. Okay, if I run this code, you see student 1, Ramya, roll number, and student object. Okay, I want to remove this also. Name, Ramya, roll number. Okay, so this function is creating the student object when you pass the student name as an input and the student roll number as an input. Two inputs are being passed and the output is in the form of what? Student objects. Okay, this is one of the examples where you can understand the insights about the BiFunction interface. Right, very simple. If you want to understand this, okay, I can remove this now for now. Okay, what is the processing logic that I have here? What is the processing logic that I have here? This is the processing logic. Right, let me remove the actual with the previous one. Delete. So you are passing what? You are passing two inputs by using apply method, Ramya and 1 2 3. So input 1 is what? Ramya, and input 3 is what? 1 2 3. Okay, this will go inside and there is a processing logic inside. What is the logic inside? Okay, creating the object for the two inputs. Very simple, very processing logic. Ramya and 1 2 3 will go as an input. Okay, Ramya and 1 2 3. Okay, A is Ramya here and B is 1 2 3. Okay, you are creating what? New student A comma B, which means output is going to be what? An object will be created, right? And this object is going to have two instance variables, which is Ramya and which is 1 2 3. Okay, and you are storing this object in the array list. Okay, you are passing two inputs here. One is the string type, second one is input integer type, which is what? 1 2 3. Roll number. Roll number is representing the integer type. These two inputs is going inside and it is generating the output in the form of return type, which is of what? Student object. Okay, that's why the prototype is what? The first one is string, second one is integer, third one is the return type, which is student object. Right, this is the importance of what? Importance of the BiFunction. What is it? Importance of the BiFunction. Let us understand the last example. Okay, the somewhat it is going to be a real-time example. Okay, I want to, let me remove this. I want to write a BiFunction to calculate monthly salary with employee and timesheet objects as the input. Using BiFunction. Okay, so I want to accept the employee object and the timesheet object as the input to calculate the monthly salary of an employee. In order to achieve this, what I'm trying to take is I'm trying to create two classes. One is representing the employee. Okay, my employee class is going to have two things here, guys. One is employee number. The second one is the employee name. Okay, and third one is what? Salary. Salary is represented in the form of double, right? salary, or else I can take daily wage. Daily salary, daily wage. Three properties are there for the employees. To assign values to this reference variable, I want to declare a constructor here, right? And I'm using the editor to generate this constructor quickly. Okay, so this is the constructor that I have generated for these three properties. Okay, I have created what? I have created the employee class, which is accepting which has three properties, and I have declared a constructor here to initialize the values to these instance variables. Okay, and the second one is, this is the employee. So employee class is required to create employee object. Okay, that part I have taken care. Now I want to create the timesheet object. To create a timesheet object, I want to create the timesheet class. Type class timesheet. Okay, this timesheet class is going to have two properties. One is the employee number properties, and the second one is what? The days property. Let me quickly generate a constructor for this. Generate constructor using fields. Right, so the constructor has been generated. So two classes I have, employee class and timesheet class. Okay, I want to write a BiFunction. I want to do what right away. Before that, let me create one object for the employee. Employee E1 equal to new employee. So employee number is something like 101. So employee name is something like Jyoti, and employee salary is something like 1000 per day. Okay, and let me create a timesheet object. Okay, this timesheet object T1 equal to new timesheet. This timesheet object is going to accept the employee number, which is what? 101. This is number, right? I should be using integer. Okay, timesheet object is going to accept the employee number and the number of days that the employee worked. Let us say that 25 days. Both are integers. Okay, two objects I have created here, right? One is the employee object, second one is the timesheet object. These are the values that I am assigning the reference variable. Employee number, employee name, employee salary, per day salary. Employee number and number of days, 25 days. Let us say that employees worked for 25 days. Okay, I am creating a BiFunction here. Okay, my BiFunction is going to have the employee object as the first input and the timesheet object as the second input. Okay, and the salary as the third input. Okay, I want to find the salary, calculate the monthly salary. So double salary will be in the form of double. Okay, F equal to two object I must put, employee object plus the timesheet object. What I'm trying to do is I'm fetching the daily wage. Okay, every day how much employees are earning, 1000, 1000 rupees. I'm fetching that using the employee object. E dot daily wage is going to extract this value, which is 1000. Okay, multiplying that with timesheet T dot days, number of days that the employee worked, which is 25. Right? And if I use system.out.println statement, monthly salary is plus F dot apply. Okay, I should pass the objects of employee E1 and T1. If I run this code, I will be able to find the monthly salary of Jyoti, 25,000. Okay, if I create the second object, okay, let us create the second object, second employee object E2, and let us say that the Ramya is a second employee and the employee code is 102 and the salary is 1200 and timesheet 2. Ramya has the timesheet 2 object and employee code is 102 and Ramya has worked only for 20 days. Right? If I pass the Ramya's information E2 comma T2, okay, I can fetch the value. I can get the actual monthly salary is 24,000. Okay, so this is how we can use a BiPredicate. So in this BiPredicate, okay, you are passing the first input as employee object, second input as timesheet object, and the output is going to be in the form of double. So you are fetching the salary. So this is the business logic. This is the processing logic. Okay, so E is representing employee object, E is representing the timesheet object. Okay, from the employee object, you are extracting the daily wage, multiplying that, and from the timesheet object, you are extracting the number of days is 25. Okay, and you're multiplying that, which is going to give the monthly salary, right? This is how the program look like, and this is all about what? This is all about the by function. Okay, that's all about the today's class. Tomorrow we will discuss about the last topic, which is what? By consumer. You don't have by supplier, because by supplier, so this is talking about the two inputs, okay, but the supplier will not accept any input, isn't it? Supplier will just supply the return type. It will not accept any input. So that's why by supplier concept is not available. Only three topics are there. One is by predicate, by function, and you have what? By consumer. Tomorrow we will discuss. We will combine all these three examples together. Okay, that's all about the day for the day. Thank you so much for your time. We will meet tomorrow.